Okay, so for my final project, I decided to create a table to discuss the 5 different areas of language for 3 to 5 year olds, which is 36 to 60 months. So we all know the 5 areas of language, so I'm just kind of going to briefly go over them again. But semantics kind of refers to the way in which a language conveys the meaning, so it moves beyond the literal meaning of words. So, for example, saying I have cold feet does not mean that literally. It means that you kind of have anxiety about an upcoming situation. So, some different skills that 3 to 5 year olds typically have regarding semantics is knowing 300 to 2,500 words. They're typically able to locate objects on parts on different objects. So, for example, a tail on a dog or a cat and a wheel on a car. And they're able to recognize the function of common objects. So, like a phone, they know that it's used to call people. Syntax refers to how individual words are combined to create sentences, and this is basically the simple grammar, and it allows us to understand the basics of grammar. And basically, that changing the order of a sentence does not change the meaning. So there's multiple ways to form a sentence without changing the literal meaning of it. So some different skills. Sentences are formed with as many words as their age. So a 4-year-old has 4-word sentences and so on and so forth. There are quite a few errors of noun, verb, and adjective/noun agreements in sentences. And what was and what were questions are asked quite frequently. Morphology refers to the smallest building blocks for comprehension. And so there are typically an MLU of 3.5 and up, which was there was a table in the textbook if anyone remembers looking at it. The MLU stands for the mean length of utterance, and it basically measures the linguistic productivity in children. Children also began to use verb endings such as ing, making it past tense with ed, and making it plural with an s or an es, and contractions are used quite consistently. Phonology is the study of speech structure within a language, and it refers to the patterns of speech units and different pronunciation rules. So 3 to 5 year olds can typically generate rhyming words. They began to clap and count the amounts of syllables in words, and they become quite intelligible with connected speech. So their conversations with others becomes more in depth, and the way they ask questions are more than along the lines of "what is that?" or so on and so forth. And finally, pragmatics refers to the way we use language to achieve our goals, and it's basically a different tone of voice towards different things. So the way I talk to my friends might be different than the way I talk to my parents, for example. And that's just the way that pragmatics works, and it becomes more in depth with the 3 to 5 year old range. So some different skills, and they're able to use indirect requests when asking questions. They begin to use their words and their language for jokes, teasing, and play, which is quite different than the 1 to 5 range. And they're able to use more fillers in conversations. So when we're having a conversation with another person, and to assure that we're listening to them, we often say yeah, okay. And so 3 to 5 year olds are doing this quite more often. So the final column in my table was different activities to promote development. And so my first activity was building structures with blocks or Legos, and this teaches patience, creativity, and independence, which associates with pragmatics and semantics. Assuming the role of another in play, such as an animal, a parent, or a teacher, is a strong activity to promote imitation, sentence structure, and turn taking. So phonology, semantics, syntax, and morphology are the different forms of language that it is involved with. Cutting and pasting or arts and crafts, it's an activity that's pretty common with groups. So this is a good example for learning turn taking, improving word choice, basic vocabulary, and sentence structure. With this, children are often asked, "What did you draw?" or "What supplies do you need?" So when they answer these questions, "I drew mommy" or "I drew cat," that is a way of them to use their skills to portray what they want. Another activity that I have is hide and seek. This teaches turn taking and object permanence. Um, they're both necessary to develop conversational skills. This is involved with pragmatics. Building a road and playing with cars is great for turn taking in a group setting. And with this, you're often forming sounds to fit an object. So when a child is saying vroom vroom, they're indicating that the car is going fast and in a race. This goes along with phonology, morphology, syntax, and pragmatics. And the final activity I have is one that's more fitting towards an educational setting, but I have snack time. And this is a time that many children look forward to. And though it does not last long, they're able to learn a great deal of patience, and they're able to use sentence structures and their sentence structure typically improves. So when a children says, "Open please," or "Give me that," this is using pragmatics. I had a great time working on this project, and I hope it's some help. I'll upload my table at the end. Thank you.